Welcome to Generation Dragons episode 97. Steve, how are you?
Clint, my man, I'm doing well. Good to see you, as
You as
always.
well, you as well.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Dink.
Tink.
Hmm. You want to lead her off and get right into what we're talking about today?
For tuning in. I'm sure you'll enjoy this conversation. Probably won't be a very long one, but maybe it will be. Today's episode is brought to you by Cold Bear Brewery in Empire. I'm lying; it's not brought by it, but it was good beer, and we had it at the beer fest.
But if
Steve,
they
and
want to sponsor us,
yeah,
just saying.
yeah.
I'll promote that beer.
Yeah, but yeah. So, Steve, we are here today. I know we want to talk. You were kind of asking about Switch 2 impressions with now having it for 13 days or so. I guess it's about no, it's 2 weeks
2 weeks.
now.
Yep.
2 weeks of having it, and then you had some questions around pros, cons, good stuff, bad stuff, all that good stuff,
Yeah.
fun stuff, and then we're gonna talk about Xbox and
Yeah. Touch a little bit on the Rogue Ally and the new console, but nothing heavy. It's all speculation for a lot of that
at this
anyway.
point. Yep. Yeah, so I will kick off with my impressions of the Switch 2.
Yeah.
It's
So it's
good.
been 2 weeks.
Yes, it's good. Um, would I, if you weren't a giant Nintendo fan, like if I wasn't a giant Nintendo fan, I probably wouldn't have jumped on it right away, knowing it after playing it for 2 weeks. Mario Kart is great. Switch games that play on it, all right, Switch games that have the upgrades, i.e. Zelda and stuff like that, play well. They're nice, but I mean, if you were a Switch person and had Zelda before, it's not going to make much of a difference.
Does it play
Um,
better?
it does play. Oh, it plays 100% better, but
Because I
like
find on
I
my Switch it sometimes chops or you get the screen catching up now and again.
no, it plays really well. Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both play really well on it. The downfall is I played the crap out of those two games when they came out, 2017, 2023. So I
Hmm.
will go back in just to test it, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
My biggest thing for it was the GameCube games. F-Zero GX and Zelda were two of my favorite GameCube games, so I was happy to be playing with them. The downfall is that they would play much better on the GameCube controller, and only because, and I know that Steve, you're saying here, one of the cons being the Z button placement for the GameCube games. So I'm assuming I understand what that means because, for example, when playing F-Zero GX, the speed boost is on the X button. So I don't have it here, my Switch 2, but your like gas buttons here, and then you have to use this as your turbo. So you're like going kind
It's
of
a little
weird.
awkward. Mm.
Yeah, you're making weird little awkward fingers, right? So um,
I do that
other than
all the
that,
time.
games play
Usually
amazingly
they're
well
happy
on it.
about it, but
Be awkward. Yeah.
awkward finger placements. Huh?
Yes. But yeah, no, I mean, Pro controller is nice. It feels
It's more expensive than
exactly the same
the
as
same
original Switch
price.
one. Yes, but it also has more expensive. But it also has triggers on the handles similar
Oh, nice.
to
I love those. Like on my
yeah.
Elite controllers, I love that. I love not having to go from.
So
I always
those
making my bumpers, so
right. Right, so that those are in there. So that's the nice thing about the Pro controller. The Joy-Con 2s, I haven't used like the mouse feature and anything like that in it. I haven't had a game to play. Really want to try the
that's
mouse
pretty
feature
cool.
on.
I have to admit, like that's a really neat little because it gives so much more possibilities for. Hell, you could play Mario Paint.
Yeah, exactly right.
You
Yeah,
just have
yeah,
to put it in the
um,
SNES store, and then you can play it. Switch 2 only.
yeah. um, oh, and I mean, it runs excellent when I'm playing handheld on the TV. It looks great. I do notice a huge difference between the Switch 1 and Switch 2 on the TV. Mario
What about the
Kart
screen
has been the
itself? Switch 1 to
I,
Switch 2. Oh, it's Switch
Switch
OLED to Switch 2.
Switch OLED to Switch 2, honestly, I don't notice a difference. Like
Any battery life
all of it.
difference?
Not much difference between Switch 1 OG and Switch 2. Like I think it's about the same. Like I don't play it much in handheld, but playing what I have in handheld, it's probably maybe a half hour. OLED is better because it has, the OLED screen doesn't drain as much battery, and it had a bigger battery at the time, all that stuff. But comparing OG Switch 1 to OG Switch 2, OG Switch 2, and OG Switch 1, there wasn't much difference. 3, 4 hour battery life, not great. But again, I don't play handheld all the time, so I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, well, except when you're taking a shit, that's when you'll play it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm not on the toilet for 4 hours. If I was,
No, if
I'm
you
probably
are,
gonna
you're
take a
hiding from
walk.
everyone else. You're not
Yeah.
shitting. I'm on the can. Leave me alone. So,
um, But yeah, I mean, honestly, the new Donkey Kong coming out in July, I'm excited for that. They had a direct yesterday on the 18th of June,
mhm.
made me more excited for it. So I was like, sweet. And then knowing Metroid Prime 4 is out this year, Kirby Air Rider's out this year, there's a new Pokemon game coming out this year. So the Nintendo is rolling out the games, which is great, month to month type thing, right? So
Mhm.
I'm I enjoy my purchase. Uh,
And with
again,
the price of Switch games, and don't get me wrong, all games are going up. That's a good to balance it out, so you're not broke every month. Like,
well, that's exactly it, right?
so, but
That's it. So we could talk pros and cons on it, if you want. So,
so
like
this is
you go,
kind of my
go.
big question. Does it feel like a new console or like a big upgrade? Because I know, like when I got the Xboxes, for example, because the stays the same, it's the same experience. It
Yeah,
didn't feel like a big jump to me, even though hardware wise, spec wise, Series X is far superior to the Xbox One or even Xbox One X.
yeah,
But when I got the Sony PlayStation 5 versus the 4, it just felt new. It was
yeah,
refreshing. It was different. I get the Xbox idea and I like it better overall. But that initial feeling I got when I turned on the PS5, oh, cool. It's like something
yeah,
new.
yeah,
Where the Xbox was like, it's the same damn thing. So it's
yeah.
like,
It definitely it's an in between. So it's not quite the PlayStation feel of going from like one OS to another OS, but it doesn't feel exactly going from Switch One to Switch. Like it doesn't feel like you're just staying on Switch. There are improvements on the Switch 2. It does feel new, but it doesn't feel different.
okay, so
So
I need
that's a
advice then.
positive. It's similar.
I need advice.
Okay,
I'm getting a bonus at the end of the month. I have to fix my wife's car. That's going to be thousands of dollars. Maybe I just say it was an extra thousand and
right.
somehow walk home with a Switch 2. And then if she ever sees it, hey, you wouldn't believe it. They were giving away Switch 2s with every car repair.
Yeah.
Huh?
Uh,
Plausible?
Possible? Maybe, maybe. For yourself, Steve, I would honestly wait like end of the year into next year for someone like you, because I play my Switch all the time. You don't,
It's here
right?
and
Like
there.
a
Yeah. I'll
exactly.
play this over the Switch.
Yeah.
Like I've
So
been actually playing the G Cloud more than this. And half the time I'm not playing an Xbox or PlayStation game. I'm playing retro games. Like I'm
yeah,
using the
G Cloud.
emulation on it.
Now you have a G
Yeah.
Cloud, Steve.
Mhm.
Okay, well I've got covered glass. If you need any protectors, I have some for you. That's
Appreciate that.
but yeah,
I got the one
so
with the Velcro cover.
oh yeah, good, sweet, sweet.
So
Yeah, so pros, like if I'm looking at a pro list, I mean the list that you have here, 4K supported dock, HDR, and all that stuff on support, which is good. Some mess up on the HDR, so I've had to reset it twice, but it's been auto prompted. So not a big issue, but a little bit of a pain in the butt. Magnetic Joy Cons has been awesome.
yeah, I think that's awesome. And the
The
fact that
click
you can
on,
put them
click
on
off.
backwards.
Steve, you look like you're pooping yourself. There you go.
But
Uh,
I love those magnetic controllers. I love that I can put them on backwards.
Yeah,
If I'm
they
gonna.
yeah, I mean they are pretty sweet. They feel nice. What I call it the dog face, slip the Joy-Cons on.
Hmm.
It looks like a dog face. So this one
Show me,
here,
show me your dog
uh,
face.
I don't
Oh, you
have
don't
it
have it
with
with
me.
you. That's right.
No,
Yeah, you have the other.
uh, the old one. It looks. I mean, that in your hand feels nice. Like it feels better than the first one. So things like that. GameCube, like I said, I already talked about the GameCube games on there. Virtual game cards. So that's where we're talking pros and cons. It doesn't impact me because I'm a physical guy, so it doesn't. Virtual game cards impact me very
You can say
minimal.
you're a physical guy. I've been over at your place.
Yes, sir. But it impacts me for DLC.
How so?
So if I don't make my Switch to my primary Switch, which I haven't yet, because I never even made my OLED my primary Switch, um, all the DLC is connected to my original. So, for example, Smash Bros. Has a bunch of DLC to it. So does Pokemon, which I own. I can play the physical game, but it's like, do you want to play the DLC or do you want to have access to DLC? And it's like, yes, okay, take the virtual card.
Okay, explain
Not the
this.
yeah,
Yeah, because the virtual card is it's sort of like an idea of having a physical card, but it's not.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. So, um, it's not the end of the world for, like I said, for me. If it impacts the most if you were mostly digital. If you're always digital games and you wanted to share between consoles, so we Switch One or Switch Two, doesn't matter. You could have if your family is on your Switch account, and or I could share a digital game with you. It can only be shared for 14 days. That's not crazy. No. Oh,
It's like
Kathy's
a
moving.
demo.
See, so there's the dog face of the original,
Yep.
and then there's the Switch, and then there's the dog face of the Switch too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see it. It's just it actually looks quite a bit bigger.
It is, yeah. So that's the Switch OLED, and then the Switch 2.
Wow. What's the difference in size? Do you have your original Switch handy?
Yeah, and then the original Switch. Oh,
You have an extra arm?
yeah, I know, right? So there's the original Switch
Wow.
without
Except
the
it,
Joy-Cons. Kathy's just.
oh, I liked it better
So
naked,
there's the
but
two.
uh, yeah, it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So
And then that's Switch 1 to OLED. I can't get them even in the same screen. So
those
there's
are
a
pretty
difference
close,
in
yeah.
size, yeah. But yeah. So controller wise, what was I on here? What was I saying? Yeah. So the virtual games with digital games themselves, it can be a bit of a pain because you can share the game, which is cool, but it's only for 14 days. Like you and I were talking about before, it's no different than a physical game, right? Because, I can lend a game to somebody else physically, but I can't play it because I don't have the physical cartridge. That's the same
Oh,
thing
so
as
you basically give me a serial number or a code, and then I can play it for X amount of time, and then it defaults back to
exactly.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Can you renew it like after 14 days? Like say I was playing
I
it for
can
14
take
days.
I can take it back and then give it back to you, I think is how it works. I haven't tried it, but I'm pretty
We
sure that's
should.
how it works. Yeah.
Once you get to the point where there's a game that you're not going to care about for a month, let's
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah.
So,
Um, yeah. I mean, that's really about it. Could HD Rumble improvements and all that stuff. It's been pretty cool. Um, Cons to it, and this is a con, cost of game, but that's everywhere. Every game's gone up in price. Um, Key cards, so not having it gives you a physical game, but then the code is on the game that you have to then download from online. It's not downloaded from the cartridge, so that's kind of a pain in the butt because you need to have connection to the internet. Now, that's not quite different than Sony and Xbox. I mean, at this point, you can't even buy a physical Xbox game anymore. You get a case that has a code
Oh,
inside of
I
it.
know. I hate that. But it was
Uh,
even like when Infinite comes out, it came out with a disc, but it's really
yeah,
just a disc to let you download.
yeah.
So,
So that's it. I mean, it's been around already. Now it's just some Nintendo games. Now, positive, Nintendo games published by Nintendo are all physical. Some third party like Cyberpunk is also physical. But most other games, most I think, all Sega games are the virtual key card games, which sucks.
mm.
Um, and then, a few others. However, you can still own a physical version of the game, but you just have to be connected to the internet. So,
The always online thing that Xbox blew apart and got in trouble for when the Xbox One came out.
yeah, so it's not always online. It just you need to have access to online to download the game, and then after that, you can play the game without being online if you have the key card in
Hmm.
like the game card in your console.
So I did have a question about it, and I just lost it. I was going to ask. Shit.
Uh,
Anyway, go on. It'll come back to me.
yeah,
It had
no,
to
I,
do with
I
that.
I know some people had concerns about availability. I mean, I don't locally here in Ottawa. There has been no problems. I was at GameStop yesterday and talked to the guys there and talked to the Ramsey, and he's like, "I've had one. I've had consoles in my store the whole time." He's like, "Pretty much I sell one, and then Nintendo sends me a box because they're
Yeah.
just constant, right?" So, which is awesome. So I don't know if people have been having problems getting it and all that stuff. I mean, the other complaint is the GameCube controller that is only accessible through Nintendo. That's no different
Oh yeah.
than
What
these.
about docks? I heard the same thing. We'll get another dock, and I'll let you get back because
So
you were about to show me the SNES controller.
yeah, so on the docks, I didn't look them. I didn't try to get for another dock because I don't know 100% sure. I'm
Can you
pretty
put
sure
the
I saw them
Switch
at the GameStop.
2 in the original dock? I'm doubting it because
It's no, not in the original. Actually, you can put it in the original dock. It just won't play off the original dock.
it'll
It'll
charge.
charge, but it won't. Yeah, but it won't
Can you
play.
put the Switch 1 in
Uh,
the Switch 2 dock?
I haven't tried it, nor am I going to, and I haven't looked it up, so I'm not sure. Um,
Come
yeah, so
on,
back,
you want to try it? You can get a
so
new one
back,
if it breaks.
yeah, that's it, right? So back to the GameCube controller and only accessible on Nintendo Store. That's always been the case. Same thing with these controllers. Like these have only been accessible on the GameCube or on the Nintendo Store. You can't buy them at, a GameStop, EB, wherever. You have to buy them from Nintendo. So that's no different. That's not a complaint. I mean, it's made. You can only buy those if you have Nintendo Online, meaning you can only play those games if you have Nintendo Online. So why do you need to buy it at a GameStop if you don't have Nintendo Online,
Hmm.
right? Um, the yeah, poor battery life and all that stuff. We talked about that already. So, I mean, all in all,
Yeah.
Steve, I really enjoyed my Switch 2.
Well, that's
As
the
a
bottom
person
line.
who,
Do you enjoy it? Do you like it? That's the bottom
yeah,
line. Do you like it more than the other? Was it worth the price difference to upgrade? If it is to you, that's really all that matters.
yeah, exactly, and it definitely was. I'm a big Nintendo guy. Play mostly Nintendo, and that is why I went with the Switch 2.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's my little and the feedback on Switch 2. Looking forward to other games, but all in all, I think I'd give it a 7.5, 8 as a launch game, a launch where I'd be not amazing. It would be amazing if it had a few more Nintendo published games or a few more exclusives or bigger games at the time, right? So that's it. That's all on that side, sir.
That's kind of how all new launches go.
Exactly. Yeah.
I haven't seen a good launch in decade
I mean,
or more.
Switch One was an amazing launch, but they also had Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
So
that's
like it's
fair.
hard, right? So
But like, remember when launches like you'd have like Halo when it came out with the Xbox? That was a system seller,
yeah, yeah,
and that's what Zelda was to the Switch One.
yeah.
So but you don't see that too often anymore.
No,
There's always like I thought Halo Infinite was going to be the system seller, and it came out as half a game.
Yeah,
You
exactly. Yeah.
know, and the main thing I wanted it for was co-op play, and I couldn't even do that. But I digress because that's a whole nother subject. Anyway, let's
Hi,
move on to the
that's actually very good. We should do that
segue into
as
the
an
Xbox.
episode. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, good segue. We should
But
do that
you're
as an episode. An episode on console releases. If we haven't
I'll
done
mark it
one
down
yet.
after this. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so
I might even
Xbox.
have some old pictures from some of the midnight launches.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
That'd be
anyway,
sweet.
yeah,
The
Xbox.
Xbox.
What
Yeah,
do you think?
so
Okay, you
let
start.
the yeah, no, I was just thinking Rogue Ally, so the Rogue Xbox Ally and Ally X.
Mhm. There's quite a big
They're
difference between the two.
yes. I mean it's cool. They're gonna be like $1,500. I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah, I'm not. If it's, I had no idea what the price point is. I just assumed it was going to be astronomical, especially
I
it's like a
would
mini PC,
yeah,
and you
I'm
can
not
use an NVIDIA dock. If I remember right, you can
yeah,
dock it and
I,
get a boost.
yeah, I'm going off of what the ROG Ally currently goes for. So,
Yeah, I think the big difference
between
is it's the
800 to
Xbox.
1200.
Yeah, I think the big difference is the Xbox OS, and it's more focused on that. And but I was like looking at it, I'm more excited about new console hardware than I am about
Yes.
handheld.
But
So
again, I mean, I the handheld thing is great, like, but the thing, that's what's killing me. I mean, I'm going to be able to buy physical Xbox published games on my PlayStation 5 and not the physical game on my
well,
Xbox.
exactly, and that's why I see where they're going. It's kind of going the Dreamcast way, or sorry, the Sega way. Um, but I did see like the possibility of God of War coming over to Xbox via PC
Steam,
Xbox.
yeah, yeah, but via
So it's
Steam
not
and
on the console. Exactly.
yeah,
But will they allow the console to run Steam? And some of the reading I was doing says it looks like it will. The new console will just be like a play anything thing. So what are you guys doing? Are you going to make an Android box based on a Windows platform?
yeah, that's
That's kind of what it seems like.
but I think you'll see a delay in releases to PC from Sony. So they'll still come out, but it'll be like right now it's 15 to 18 months later,
So
18 to
they're the
24
beta
months later.
testers, and but because that was the
Well,
old joke when it went
yeah,
the
but
other way.
I mean, it is Gears of War Reloaded on the PlayStation 5 is going to have the haptic triggers. So like imagine like doing the chainsaw and you can feel it in your finger like
Yeah,
going
yeah.
against, right?
Well,
So
I already saw that. Speaking of haptic feedback, the Rogue Ally, the X, what was it called? The Rogue Ally and the Rogue Ally X. Yeah, is going to have haptic feedback, but the Rogue Ally won't. So,
um but
you know,
again, it's going to be yes, I don't know, right? I'm not going to spend $1,500 on a
but you
Ally
could,
X, right? I
and
could
then just be
I
like, try it out, Steve.
Yeah, I could, or I could buy a junker car and drive it through the winter. Like,
If you find a junker for $1,500, let's have fun.
yeah,
I'll
right.
throw some money into that. So,
Uh, but yeah,
but
I mean, it is cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's great because I think if the price point was reasonable, it would be something I'd be interested in. I did look at those before, but then with like using Game.Bot and stuff like that, right? So it is cool. However, $1,500 and again, I'm making up numbers. I have no idea what the number is going to be. That's what's going to kill me,
yeah, the price point
right?
has to
So
be lower
it,
than that for people to actually take it serious. You'll get
yeah,
people that'll spend that, but it won't be a lot. Like
no,
that's
exactly.
what's killing like a lot of the expensive handhelds. When you're gonna spend $800 on what's that handheld called?
A
Like the
Steam
Steam
Deck.
Deck, but the other one that's about the same price. Um, anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, if you're gonna spend close to $1,000 on a handheld, you might as well just buy a console. Like I get the portability
Yeah.
of it, but like man, if you're getting $1,000, you might as well start looking at laptops. You can get gaming
Yeah,
laptops
well,
for not
exactly
much
right.
more. I get they're not the best gaming
Yeah,
laptops, but they're still going to be gameable. So,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So no, well, on that side, you heard the next Xbox console working with AMD,
Yeah,
you know, likely going to be PC
that's why I was saying
esque.
like it earlier, you can play anything on it because it's well, I was saying Android as an example, but it's basically a PC.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So which is fine. I mean, I at this point, if they're
am
not
I
going
going to
to,
buy an Xbox and plop it here, and I'm going to work off it, do my day work
yeah,
off it, and then just start playing games after? Like
yeah, right. I mean, if they're not going to have console exclusives and
they have to, man. That's the worst. That's their
or,
worst
or
decision.
or physical, I'm not going to get the next Xbox. Like
Yeah.
if right, like if I can buy, I don't know, a Japanese version of Halo 8, um, for my PlayStation 6, guess what? And it's physical. I'm going to go do that, right? Like,
Yeah. So I'm a huge Xbox fan, but I got to be there with you. Like I'd rather a physical copy, and if both console makers, mean the big heavy ones, Xbox and Sony, if they're Microsoft and Sony, I should say, if they're going to one's going to put their games on both consoles, why would I buy that
exactly.
over this? Like so,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, is
Exactly.
what it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah.
We'll see. You never know.
Is what
You
it is.
never know. I think what they're going to do is they're going to make these come out first on Xbox first. But I'm not one of those guys that buy
Yeah.
games day one very anymore. There's a couple of games I really want to, like Halo and Gears, but I can wait nowadays because when the games come out, they don't have half of what they promised. So,
No, there's that. And like I said, I mean, physical. Like, I'm not going to buy a digital version of next Halo or Gears or whatever if I don't like. I'll play it on Game Pass on my Xbox. Like Fable for next year. I'm gonna. I probably won't buy physical. I'll just play it on Game Pass. And if I decide to buy physical because they announced on PlayStation and it comes physical there, then I'll buy physical on PlayStation.
mhm.
Right? Like it's gonna be something along those lines. I don't. Yeah, we've been, we talk about this all the time. Physical is where
We
it's at
do.
for us,
We do. Yep.
and if Xbox is going to sell games physical games on other consoles and not on their own, then I'll buy it on the other, which is what they want. They're still making money off me by buying the game. Um, but yeah, that's just a personal preference.
Yeah.
But yeah,
100% agree.
Steve.
So,
Um,
probably can wrap it up
and
because we don't need to spend a
yeah,
lot of time on this. That's all I hear say at the
yep,
moment.
that's it. So everyone, hope you liked the episode today. Switch 2 and Xbox. If you have comments on the Switch 2, did you get one? What do you think about the new Xbox stuff? What do
Will
you
you
expect
buy
from
a Rogue
Sony?
Ally? Will you buy
Would
a
you buy
Rogue
a
Ally
Rogue?
X?
Would you buy one? Um, and yeah, that's it. Steve, as always,
Keep collecting
keep gaming and
and keep
keep
safe.
safe.
Boop dink.